Today, we're going to be talking about how you can improve your wedge game. So really here, we're talking 100 yards and in. Now, the beauty of this part of the game is that whilst you or I might not have the physical ability, the talent, the years of practice and dedication to be able to carry our driver 300 yards and hit the fairway every time, we do have the ability to hit the ball 80 yards. And therefore, the challenge in this range is more about skill, finesse and control than it is about brute strength. And I think, therefore, it's an area that nearly every golfer can improve. They can save themselves shots, hit the ball closer to the flag, reduce their handicap, beat their friends, have more fun on the golf course. So really today we're going to talk about a simple system. Now, I can't claim to have invented this. You'll have all heard of the idea of a clock face system. We're going to go a little bit in depth today about how I would encourage you to go, and if you've never done it before, maybe start to develop your own clock face. Try and understand how to practice it efficiently, how to test it, and then how to build trust and confidence when you go on the golf course. So we're going to start then with my most lofted wedge, which is 60 degrees. So I carry 3 wedges below my pitching wedge in my bag, and they're the ones we're going to look at today. The aim's going to be, and I'll grab my 60 degree wedge here, we're going to start with a 60 degree wedge, and we're going to start with a 9 o'clock backswing. So for me, a 9 o'clock backswing would be the feeling of when my left arm here becomes parallel to the ground. All right, there'll be an amount of wrist hinge here, and we'll all differ in how we do that. And I don't think that's necessarily important, but the intent for these first 3 shots that I'm going to hit is to try to move my left arm back to 9 o'clock. The second thing I'm going to then try to focus on is what I would describe as my effort in the downswing. So once I've hit that 9 o'clock position there, how hard out of 10 do I feel like I'm hitting the golf ball? Now, we just said a moment ago, these shots are about finesse and control. So that number I don't think should ever be more than 8 out of 10 at an absolute maximum. For me personally, I feel as though once I've got that left arm to 9 o'clock, I feel like it's a 7 out of 10 effort on the way down. All right. We're going to monitor that today by using the club head speed function on the TrackMan here, because provided I can match my swing length and then deliver the same club head speed every time, we should get similar distances in terms of our carry. So, like I said, we're going to start with the 60. I've set the TrackMan up here with no data visible, and I think that's quite important because the idea here is I'm trying to really just get into, can I control those 2 factors? Length of my backswing, effort in my downswing. So we're going to hit 3 shots here with the feeling of that being at 9 o'clock. So again, 7 out of 10 effort, left arm back to 9 o'clock, and we're going to hit the shot there. Right, so I'm not going to worry too much about where the ball's gone particularly. I'm not going to look at any numbers on the screen. Same feeling again. We're going to just get ourselves settled there. Left arm back to 9 o'clock and try and hit the golf shot. All right, that's 2. We're going to hit 3 of those. And then we're going to move into a second swing length. So second shot there again, just thinking 9 o'clock and down and through the golf ball. Right. So I've hit 3 golf shots. Now, if you were doing this at the driving range, and I'll just pop over to the TrackMan here, the way I would encourage you to look at doing that would be to think about a couple of factors. So if I make those the averages there. Okay, so the numbers we've got up on the left-hand side of the screen here now, my club head speed was just over 63 miles an hour. The ball carried just over 63 yards. So for me there, I'd be now writing that down in a notepad. 9 o'clock, 60 degree wedge, 63 yards of carry. Okay, so we'll pop back into the TrackMan and we're just going to reset that. So we're going to take the data away again. We're going to tag that as 10 o'clock now. So when we look at this in a moment, this is going to allow me to separate the shots out. Okay, so same idea now in terms of my rhythm and my tempo. My effort's going to remain at 7 out of 10, but if left arm parallel to the ground's my feeling of 9 o'clock, for me the feeling here is now I just try to get my hands a little bit higher, so just above shoulder high, and that pretty much gets my left arm to 10 o'clock on a traditional clock face type idea. So we'll come back into the golf ball, we'll get into there, we'll go left arm up to 10 o'clock, and we'll hit the shot. Hit that one a little bit heavy. Not the best strike, but not completely horrendous, so I probably wouldn't hate it out on the course. Come back into the next one. Again, left arm up to 10 o'clock. Yeah, that's a cleaner strike. That feels a bit more representative of what I'm looking for. Okay, third time. So again, left arm up to 10 o'clock. Okay, 3 pretty nice shots there. So again, we'll pop back into the TrackMan. We'll load that up. Fantastic. Right, so we've got a little bit more carry there, which is great. It's interesting. I know from my experience, the 9 o'clock swings there, I've actually hit them a little bit further than I was maybe expecting to. And when you're doing this test, I'd encourage you to do it a few times, so maybe once a week for a month or so at the range, just to try and really work out where those averages are. There will be small fluctuations, but if you've done it 2 or 3 times, you can then just take an average of those averages, and that'll give you a really good starting point. So, right, these are the numbers I'm going to start to trust and play when I get to the course. So, with that in mind, we're going to move up now. So, we're on to my 54-degree wedge. So, second wedge in the bag. We'll reset the data screens there. We'll change the club into 54. We'll tag this as 9 o'clock, so we know where it is in a second. Perfect. Right. So, same intent as we just mentioned. The aim here really is, again, that feeling of left arm up to 9 o'clock. Now, my sort of gut feeling here is telling me that based on my experiences, I'm expecting this to fly about 70 yards, maybe in the early 70s. Will be roughly where this should pitch. So again, 9 o'clock with the left arm, 7 out of 10 with my effort on the downswing. You know, and that 7 out of 10 in terms of the effort there is what's going to help moderate the club head speed. So as long as we can then match the arm swing length, feel pretty happy with those 3. Pop back into the TrackMan here, split the screen there. Sorry, numbers we want, let's get that set there. Okay. Yeah, okay. So 77 yards, fine. A little bit longer again, maybe than I was expecting. And this is why I think, as I mentioned a moment ago, I'll just change this and tag it. So we're now going to move on to the 10 o'clock swings. This is why I'd encourage you to do this regularly. Every time you do it, you'll get slightly different numbers. But the more you do it, the tighter the dispersion between those numbers will become. So you'll start to find that you can really start to hit a number every time. So still with the 54-degree wedge here. The feeling now is sort of shoulder high or 10 o'clock. Which should give us just a little bit more than that last 9 o'clock swing. Okay, we'll do 2 more of those. Again, left arm shoulder high. That felt like the best strike of the day, I think. Yeah, nice straight golf shot there. Be happy with that one on the course for sure. Right, 1 more there, left arm, 10 o'clock. Maybe pulled that one a little bit, but might carry a touch further perhaps because of that. No, dead straight, okay. No problem at all there. Flick that back in. Perfect. So average carry there just into the early 80s. Absolutely fine. And then final wedge there. We'll flick this in now. So we're into my, it's actually a 48 degree, but I'm going to tag it there as the 50. Because annoyingly, TrackMan don't have a 48 degree wedge function. So Mr. TrackMan, if you're listening, feel free to fix that for me. That'd be lovely. So we're 50 degree or 48 degree wedge to 9 o'clock. So again, my feeling here is left arm to that 9 o'clock position. We'll hit 3 of those. Felt quite nice. Quite like that one. Yep, very good. Same again, 2 more of those. Yep, again, don't think I'm going to hate that. Yep, very nice. Okay, 1 more. So again, left arm, 9 o'clock. Yeah, those 3 have all come out beautifully there. I wouldn't be surprised if they're very close to each other when we look at the data in a minute. Okay, so final 3 shots. So, as you can see here, I'm basically just hitting 3 shots with 6 different swings. So it's 18 shots. So I don't think this is tough to do. I don't think it's going to take long. I think it could be a great way to spend every warm-up session at the range for the next 3 or 4 times you visit. And like I said, noting down the numbers just to give yourself an idea there. So we're into the 10 o'clock swing now. So left arm, 10 o'clock. 7 out of 10 effort through the ball. So I've got some constants here. Swing length and effort. The variable we're changing then is just the loft on the club. And I think should give us here a nice balance of swing length. And then a nice balance of shot length as a result. That when we come to look at the charts in a minute, should start to give us a distance that no matter what shot I'm faced with, I can find one that suits it. So same thing again. We'll go left arm, 10 o'clock, final shot. Maybe a tiny bit out the toe. Okay, so as I said, the aim there, the intent for those swings, work through your wedges below your pitching wedge, so whatever they may be. you're going to make 2 swing lengths. You're firstly going to have a swing that's 9 o'clock, so left arm parallel to the floor, arm pointing at where 9 o'clock on the clock face would be. We're then going to balance that with a 7 out of 10 effort in the downswing. So whilst I might have club head speed here, I can double check that my effort was the same. As long as you're at the range, your intent is to manage that club head speed, manage that effort back into the golf ball. It doesn't actually matter if the swing length's perfect. You know, if it feels like it's 9 o'clock and you video it and it's actually a bit further, don't worry about that. It's just your reference. Well, that feels like 9 o'clock. It feels like 7 out of 10. It feels like 10 o'clock. It feels like 7 out of 10. If you can get great at making those 2 swing lengths with 2 or 3 different wedges, as we see in a minute, you're going to give yourselves a grid that you can start to look at. And I think then we'll talk about in the next part of the video how you can actually take that grid onto the driving range or onto the golf course and start to test it. Okay, so once you've followed that process there that we've just discussed, 3 shots with each wedge at 2 swing lengths, you'll end up with a grid that looks something like this. Now, this is the grid that I use when I'm out playing on the golf course. So you can see my yardages there, starting from the 60 degree at the bottom. My 9 o'clock swing carries 55 yards, my 10 o'clock 65, 54, 70, and 80, and then my 48 degree wedge 90 and 100 yards. Now, I think the goal here is to look for gaps of no more than 10 yards. And if you do see a gap bigger than 10 yards, that's potentially an indication that the wedges on the loft aren't correct to allow you to space them out properly. So that might be worth something considering. Once we've got this grid in place, the next challenge is to then test it in a way that's a bit more representative of what happens on the golf course. Okay, so we've just discussed the process I would encourage you to follow to start your journey into creating a grid of numbers, a matrix of numbers that you can hit with your wedges. 2 swing lengths, 3 wedges. We'll have 6 different carry numbers. That's going to give us options when we get to the course. The second part then is almost stress testing that. Now, when we're on the golf course, we don't get the chance to hit 2 or 3 shots in a row, so it needs to become a little bit more random. What I've done here on the TrackMan is loaded up one of the games we can play where we can ask the system to throw out random numbers and random targets for us so I can begin to test that. So here I've programmed the system to give me shots between 50 and 100 yards, which, as we've just seen from the chart I popped up there that we discussed, that's what my wedges do. That's how far my wedges carry. It's going to throw random numbers out and I'm going to have to make decisions. Now, this is where we can start to factor in where the pin is on the green. So, for example, if my gut feeling tells me and my practice tells me that my 10 o'clock swing with my 54 degree wedge carries 80 yards, which is what I've found over a few times doing this, that's about the average where it pitches. If I've got a pin that's 85 yards, but it's at the back of the green, well, I don't want to go long there. So an 80-yard shot that comes up 15 feet short is actually a pretty good golf shot. So that might be the club I'm picking. The opposite might be true to a front pin. So if I had 80 yards to a front pin, and I'm thinking, well, okay, it's 76, 77 to carry a bunker. That's now quite tight if I don't quite strike it perfectly. So I might be moving to my 48 degree wedge, playing my 9 o'clock swing that might go 90 yards. But even so, I'm just going to be beyond the pin, safely on the green, putting back to it. So first shot we've got thrown out here, we've got, you can just see it down at the bottom here, 61 yards. So if we think about that, right, I've got the target over on the right-hand side here. So we've got a bunker just in front here, 61 yards to the pin, a little bit of space behind it. So for me, lob wedge, 60 degree wedge, 10 o'clock swing, 65 yards of carry. So in theory, that should be a pretty good number here to get it just beyond the pin. We might see it spin back a little bit. So we're going to go 10 o'clock. Lob wedge there, throw it up there. Struck it pretty nicely. Yeah, so as we predicted there, you can see from the right side, a little bit beyond the pin, coming back a touch. Pretty decent golf shot. It's ended up going a total of 66 yards, so 5 yards beyond the pin. There's my 15-foot putt we discussed. I've been more than happy with that. Okay, shot number 2 is 67. Perfect example. 67 to a back pin. So we can pretty be certain here. The same shot shouldn't fly much further than 65. Should only be coming backwards. So I'll be pretty comfortable. I can't hit this long of the pin. Okay, so we're going to stick with the same shot. We're going for that 10 o'clock swing. 7 out of 10 effort. Felt pretty similar to the last one. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see this pitch somewhere around the pin. Smidge out to the right. Maybe cost me a bit. Yeah, perfect. So it's pitch pin height. Comes back a little bit. Again, that's exactly the example we just discussed there. Strategically, I've played there to my advantages and understanding my distances. Right, 82, a little bit of space beyond the pin. So we've got to be a little bit careful here. 82, I'm going to be brave. We know that my 54 from the little chart we just discussed carries 80. So I'm going to have to hit a good one here. We'd be careful because there's no room left. So probably in the real world, we might aim just a hair right to the pin. So we're going to go 80 yards here, just a smidge to the right. This is my 10 o'clock 54. Now you can recreate this kind of test at the driving range. The challenge there will be once you've got your grid established, start to hit lots of different shots. Yeah, perfect. 80 yards in there, right up next to the pin. That's my favourite yardage. So if I'm ever trying to lay up on the golf course, the 80-yard shot's the one I feel the most comfortable with. So I'd be aiming there. If I've driven it in a bunker at a par 4, 230 yards to the green, I'll be thinking, well, if I can hit it 150, leave myself 80, I know that's the one that I'm best at hitting. So it gives me the best opportunity to knock the ball on, try and give myself a shortish putt for par. Next one in, right, 55 yards. So we know that's a perfect number. Again, if we go back to my grid, 55 yards there is my 9 o'clock lob wedge, 60 degree. Pin's reasonably back, so we don't want to go long. So again, we'd be fairly bold here, knowing I can probably pitch this right up by the pin. So it's 9 o'clock. I've actually hit that quite hard. That felt like a bit more like 8 or 9 out of 10 on the way down. Pushed it a touch as well. Might have saved me, yeah. So again, I could feel straight away I've hit that too hard. Now, the beauty there would be, as long as I can process that and understand why I've hit that in the bunker, just felt like I went at it a little bit in the downswing. So my goal in my practice there would be to get back to that 7 out of 10 rhythm, manage the acceleration in the downswing. Let's play 2 more, 71. So 70 yards, what have we got? Pretty tight back pin again, so don't want to go long. 70 yards is my chest high shot with my 54 degree wedge. So 9 o'clock with the 54. So again, should be just 9 o'clock. That felt pretty nice. Again, these 2 shots with my 54, I pulled it a smidge this year, Shane. But, oh yeah, it's gone probably where I've pulled it, probably where it's gone a bit long, so that would make sense. So not too disappointed there, can deal with that. Okay, final one, 57 yards, middle pin. This should be a bit of an open goal, really. We'd be aiming straight at this. So 9 o'clock with my lob wedge. Might be a touch right again, perhaps, but yeah, a little bit out to the right. Good for distance though. Yeah, perfect, good shot. So like I said, once you've gone through and created your grid, the goal would be then to maybe practice that a few times at the driving range. I think a fantastic way of making sure that you embed those numbers can be to use it as your warm-up. Like we saw there, 3 wedges, 6 swings, 3 balls each is only 18 shots. It's the perfect way to get loose before you move into the rest of your bag. And if you were to do that every time you practice, write down those numbers and just keep refining them, you'll start to be able to, over a period of doing it 3 or 4 times, work out what your average is. They're the ones to then really write down, say, right, they're the ones I'm going to play for on the golf course. As we've just tested there in the performance center, the idea then would be, let's start to think a little bit about the shot we're hitting. So if I've got a 70-yard shot to that back pin, I don't want to hit it long. Which club's going to give me the best chance to get pin high at best, if anything slightly short, or like we said to that front pin, let's make sure we get it past it so we're on the green and putting. I hope you found that really helpful. Let us know which your favourite wedge shot is. Let us know what videos you'd like us to discuss next time. Hopefully that saves you some shots next time you're out on the golf course. And I think, like I said, just using it as part of your regular routine, there's no reason why any golfer can't become an elite wedge player when they get out to play.